That is the single biggest way to accumulate wealth and generational wealth.
She loves it. She puts in an offer. We do a home inspection, and then she voids the deal.
Not always shiny, happy people. So I think we need to look behind the curtain.
She ended up selling her house, and she had no place to go. She had to up and leave the state.
No wonder everybody thinks that, oh, their job is so easy. Realtor gets caught in vacant listing with her lover.
We're going off-roading with real estate.
Taking it out of the Tahoe and bringing in backup.
Welcome to Under Contract Taking Backup.
Hi, Chelsey.
Hi, Lindsay.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Thanks for joining me.
Yeah. For our first ever.
For our very first ever pilot. Listen, I love movies and TV, so we're going to call this the pilot episode. Listen, how many times have we joked about around the campfire at your lake house? We talked about doing a podcast, all four of us hanging out, us and the spouses hanging out. And we said, oh, you guys, how many times did they tell us, you guys should do a podcast? And we just laughed and we said,
Yeah,
no.
right.
And then
You're crazy.
Yeah. And then enough people had said, oh, yeah, this makes sense, Lindsay, because you did the Tahoe talk. So now here's this. But not to be confused, this is not the Tahoe talk.
And it's not replacing the Tahoe talk.
No. We're recreating the wheel. Yeah. Yep. I did that. The proverbial wheel.
How long have you been doing Tahoe talk?
Oh my gosh. I actually looked this up the other day. This is from when the kids were in elementary school, because that's where the inspiration came from. Roran and I, the hubby and I, would always joke, realtors get stuck in their cars. Well, he would too, being a financial planner. Like, we take calls, we take calls in the car.
It's usually where it's quiet.
Right? That's our mobile office. That's when we take calls. And we would always joke with each other, you get caught in the car, like you get into the driveway, we'd pull into the driveway, we would sit in the driveway, and we'd be like looking outside, we'd be like, what are they doing? You'd get caught in your car on the phone. I was in the parking lot picking up the kids, waiting to pick up the kids from elementary school. And they're teenagers now, 13 and 15. So this would have been
almost 10 years ago, roughly.
10 years ago. Wow. So we joke about this, being caught in the car on the phone. So the next thing I know is I'm in the parking lot of the elementary school, and it just comes to me. I'm like, I'm in the Tahoe. I love alliteration. I get on my phone. I start recording. I'm like, all right, you guys, this is the first. That's how the Tahoe talk began. Because people are like, what is it? Are you in Tahoe, Colorado? What is it, a taco? What are you? No. People didn't understand it. I was like, no, I'm in a Chevy Tahoe, so it's a Tahoe talk, because I have a disease for alliteration.
People will very quickly catch on to all of your alliterations throughout this journey, because it's not going to stop.
When I was really little, I wanted to be a writer. And I was like, it kind of worked out. I guess I kind of am. So yeah, when I was really little, I used to write poems. It's really funny. So
and now we write contracts.
I write contracts, but I also kind of write poems. I write poetry about houses now.
Yes.
I write house poems.
You also do fantastic music videos, but that we'll get down to that.
Lyrics are poems.
Lyrics are poems.
So
they have a nice little tune to them.
That's my creative outlet. So yeah, that's where that's the origin story of the Tahoe. Maybe it was always just practice for this. Anyway, you came out. Yeah, you were on a Tahoe talk.
Yep.
To introduce you to the team.
Yep.
See, it was just practice for this. You were a pro. You came on in 2019.
Yep.
What made you want to do real estate?
Well, I remember sitting in your kitchen in 2017.
Time out. We're gonna go off road.
Okay.
Side quest. I have known you since 2012, 2011. You ready for some lore? Here we go. You babysat my kids.
I did.
Chelsey used to be a nanny.
I did. I put all of my patience into children, and now I put all my patience into adults. And I love it. Yeah.
You have the patience for real estate.
And
you have the temperament for real estate. So Chelsey used to babysit my kids.
I started in a daycare and nannying, and then I was kind of in the what do I do now? because eventually we were going to start our own family, my husband and I. And I wanted something kind of office-based. And I started working for you, and I started working for Rorden. And I remember sitting in your kitchen, and it was the first night I had ever had couscous. And now it's my kid's favorite. But back on track.
We had dinner.
Yeah.
That's why you were over, like, because you were deciding what to do. Were you working for the other H&H?
Yes.
H&H Financial.
Yes. So I was doing the admin for them, and then I was also starting the admin for the Hart and Homes team. And I specifically remember Rorden making a comment. I'm going to be really interested to see which direction you go, because you're not going to stay put. You're either going to get licensed for financial, like being a financial advisor, or you're going to get licensed for real estate. I see where this is going. It's going to go one way or the other.
Interesting.
So
That's right. I remember that.
Yep. I started as the admin for the team. I got pregnant a couple months later, and I found myself with a newborn baby at home. And, newborn babies are up constantly throughout the night. And every time I was up feeding a baby, I was scrolling through the MLS because I had access because I was the admin. And right then and there, I knew I am addicted. I want to look at houses. I want to show houses. I want to help people buy houses and sell houses. This is what I want to do. And 6 months later, with still a newborn, I came up to you and was like, "Hey, surprise! Can I join the office? Because I just passed my test." So, and
meanwhile, it's like, I lost an admin, but no, this is great. This is great.
Yep. So, and then, I kind of cut back in the other office and took on real estate full force, and then mommying full force. And
you know what they say about real estate? It is great. There's nothing actually better than being a mom in real estate, because you get business. Being pregnant in real estate, they love you. People love you.
I mean, everybody in the hospital thought I was nuts because I was sitting on my delivery bed waiting to actually deliver. And I'm emailing and posting things. And they're like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I can't push yet. What do you expect?"
Can I just tell you, with my second, or was it my first? I can't remember which one it was. Rorden had to take my phone away from me. He's like, "You're not doing real estate right now." I was like, "But I got an epidural. I'm good."
Right. I'm just sitting here. Let me work.
See, real estate,
also,
realty never sleeps. What do we say?
It doesn't. No. In fact, you take 2 days off to have a baby and everything goes crazy and haywire, just like when you go on vacation.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we are the problem, perpetuating the stereotype of real estate. Yeah. So we'll get into that. How I got started in real estate is I actually graduated from Ithaca College, Park School of Communications, and I ended up staying in Ithaca to work. Even though I tried to get away, but Ithaca, man, it just brings you back. It doesn't let you leave. It's gorgeous. And I ended up getting a job here in my field, which is marketing and advertising and PR. And that job brought me to the Ithaca Journal, which is where I did outside sales, which is ironic, where my customers were real estate and used car sales. Yeah, I'll let you think about that one.
That was well before Zillow.
That was well before any .coms, because we still had the real estate guide to the real estate journal. So I was selling ad space to realtors and classified space to car dealerships, which is ironic since sometimes we get the stereotype of being lumped in with just used car salesman, which I don't know why we have to break that stereotype. We'll get there. Anyway, that brought me around to all of the realtors in the Ithaca area. So I already knew a bunch of realtors. So I, the Steve Segis, the Dennis Mogul. So I would call on Susan Lewis, Amy Wood Gonzalez, all those people. I would go to Century 21. I would go Coldwell Banker, which Coldwell Banker is no longer. That's how long
Yeah.
That's how long ago
Same with
that
Century
was.
21.
Same with Century 21 is no longer. And then one fall, winter, I got told to go see this new brokerage that just opened up on Estee Street. Go see this Melissa Miller person who just opened a RE/MAX brokerage and tell them about our new product. So I went, hi. Hi, I'm Lindsay. I came here. I think this would be a great product for you. Here you go, blah, blah, blah. She looks at me and she goes, do you want a job? I have a job. So 2 months later, I'm working for Melissa Miller for Juicy. 6 months after she'd opened her office, I was working with her. August 22nd, 2005. That's the only work date I will ever remember. Like, I don't remember anything else. I remember that work date. So 20 years I have been working with RE/MAX. So I started out as admin. I didn't even know the difference between a selling and a listing agent, which now I know are the same thing. I'm like, what is selling, listing, buying? What are these terms? Oh my gosh. So I can totally understand when I'm talking to a client that they have no idea.
Right.
When I say selling agent, listing, it's the same thing. They're like, what? I can totally understand and break it down for them because I was there. I had no idea. So that is when I started, that was the very first online MLS. They still had books, printed books. You do realize that there was not always an online MLS. They had just stopped printing listing books where you had to go to the board office and pick up a book to find out what the newest listings were and what the sold listings were. They had just started this MLS online called Paragon. And I was told to get on it and enter listings into this MLS, and people were just learning it. So it was pretty fascinating. And I was there doing everything that you did when you started with the team. We were still faxing things. There was no such thing as a dot loop in e-signature software.
Right.
There was faxing. And it was a big controversy back then. If you could even allow faxing of contracts, you still had to have wet ink on paper. Like that was the big deal. Like, were you even allowed to allow a fax of a contract to count?
Oh.
Yeah, like that was a big deal. And so I was there and doing everything. And it got to the point where I was like, hey, I could do this. I'm already doing everything for the agents. Right. So in 2007, I got licensed. And then I was on Melissa's team and I was helping Melissa and do all that. So by 2008, I was kind of out of the admin game. I had my own office. And then by 2009, I was completely on my own doing just my own stuff for real estate. I wasn't on Melissa's team anymore. And then I decided to have babies. So in 2009, on my own, I was pregnant. I was full out on real estate. And then, like I said, that's the best, really was great because then by 2010, I had my first child and he was 4 weeks old when he came on his first listing appointment. So Wyatt, my oldest, has been doing real estate since he was 4 weeks old.
I have shown many properties with the baby in the carrier. In fact, I remember I sat at an open house for Colby, and I took Kennedy with me, and she had the biggest blowout in this house, and I was like, oh my God. Thank God there's no furniture, but we're just going to sit on the floor. And what do I do? And I don't have this and I don't have this. And
I think it's okay for babies to go to the bathroom in a house.
We've got some stories on that too, but yeah. But babies and real estate go hand in hand.
They do. They're great for real estate.
I mean, how can you say no to a baby? Like you look at a property, you fall in love with the property, but and then you look at the baby and you're like, all right, yep, I'm buying.
Babies and families going, babies in first houses. It's just, it's great. Seriously though, I joke with Wyatt. I go, you went on your first listing appointment when you were 4 weeks. And then my second, Asher, I go, he was 3 weeks old when he went on his. So I was like, second one around, a little faster.
Real estate is a lot like parenthood in the sense of it's a huge milestone. Becoming a parent, is a huge milestone. Getting married, huge milestone. Graduating college, huge milestone. Moving for a job, new career. Buying a house for the very first time is a huge milestone. Buying your next house and selling the first house, it's huge life events that we get to be a part of, which is so rewarding.
It's funny. It's because those huge life events are typically when you make your real estate moves too. So
it's all intertwined.
And we get it because we've been through those huge life events.
We're going to give the unfiltered version of life, an unfiltered version of real estate as we go through this journey of podcasting.
That brings me to that brings up a good point. Why do people need the unfiltered version? Because HGTV. HGTV hasn't done anybody any favors. I know it's fun to watch. Everybody needs a little escape. Social media, I think, hasn't done any favors for us, for the industry, because everybody just likes to show the rainbows and unicorns, the shiny, happy people. And it's not always shiny, happy people. So I think we need to look behind the curtain.
There's a lot that goes on that nobody knows because that's our job. It's our job to make it look easy. But as a client, you want to be able to understand it as well. So here we are explaining the good, the bad, the ugly, the crazy.
The crazy. In a fun way.
Yeah.
Also, like, why do we get the reputation that we get? Because we only ever show the $1 million listing.
Right.
Trust me. Selling Sunset. I only know the titles of these things. I never even watch these shows.
Oh, I do.
Oh, I do.
Justin and I might binge watch them.
Because it's fun because it's not true. I've watched, what is it? Love It or List It, or what's the other one where they go show 3 homes and then they pick one? I laugh so hard. I'm like, yeah, if that were only the case. And the fact that we just show shiny, happy people, rainbows, puppies, and unicorns on social media, no wonder everybody thinks that, oh, their job is so easy. They just showed 3 houses. They picked one. Oh, anybody can do that. Well, no. So let's burn down this proverbial house and let's reclaim the realtor reputation here.
Kind of backtracking. So we're realtors, not just salespeople. Why? Why do we get that designation of realtors?
Great question, Chelsey.
Because not everybody knows that. Not every agent is a realtor.
I can't speak for other states. Well,
you can.
I can speak for PA because I'm licensed in PA, but we're licensed by New York State, right? Every state has their own licensing law. There is no federal license. We know this. But New York State license us. You have to take class. And then you have to take your state test. And we're licensed by the state. And the state gives us our title.
Right.
And they call us salespeople.
Right.
Can we just lobby to get rid of that word? I hate that word. We're not salespeople. We're not selling something. We're advocating. We're helping. We're advising. We're analysts. We are
Resources.
We're everything but salespeople. If anybody out there is thinking about getting their real estate license, realtor is different than license.
Yep.
To get your real estate license, in order to become a realtor, which means you pay your dues to become part of the club.
Yes. National Association of Realtors, NAR.
Not to be confused with NRA.
Correct.
That's something completely different. We're not going to go there. I mean, we're going to be controversial, but not that controversial.
NAR holds agents to a much higher standard. We have stricter guidelines that we have to follow to be the best in our field.
So if you want to become a real estate agent, and let's be clear, it's not a licensed agent. That is not a real title.
Right.
It's not a licensed realtor. That's not a real title.
No.
There are only 2 real titles. You're either a licensed real estate salesperson, a licensed real estate associate broker, or a licensed real estate broker.
That's 3.
Or a realtor.
Okay.
That's 4.
There's 4.
Thanks. So if you want to become a real estate agent in New York State, you have to take a class, a salesperson.
I think it's like 77 and a half hours or something like that now.
77 and a half hours. So if we're going to like analogize this to college, you have to go in and buy this class,
Mm-hmm.
77 and a half hours.
Mm-hmm.
And since COVID, they don't have a lot of them in person.
No.
You take them online, like Manfred is one of them. And then once you pass that class, you then have to go to the state and take the state test.
Yep.
You pass the state or the class test, and then you have to take the state test.
Mm-hmm.
Once you pass the state test, then you have to go to a broker. So you have to go to a brokerage.
Before you get your license. Because you have to be underneath a brokerage. You can't be solo.
Yep.
Unless.
Well, nope.
Yeah.
What's a brokerage?
Yep.
That is a Remax, a Howard Hanna, a Warren Real Estate, a Century 21. That is somebody that does business.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you practice your real estate. So you have to go to a broker. And so I'm a broker, right? So somebody has to come to me and say, hey, I just got my license. Can I interview with you
Mm-hmm.
to see if you would hire me as a independent contractor? Because none of us are employees. You're self-employed. And would you hire me to do business under your umbrella, under your brokerage umbrella? And each brokerage does business differently. Mm-hmm. There's the trad brokerage. There's the franchise. There's, what is it? Keller Williams is another one. They're even a little bit different from what I understand. You have to go interview with each one of these businesses called brokerages and decide which one's a good fit for you or if they'll even hire you. And then once they hire you, then you can start to practice real estate. Right. But here's the catch. The classes don't actually teach you how to do business. They just teach you how to not get in trouble with the law. They just teach you how to pass the test. The brokerage is actually what's going to teach you how to do business. Mm-hmm. And the class is also going to teach you how a real estate agent is an independent contractor and how you have to pay taxes on your own and how you're not an employee. And they're going to teach you that legal side and all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. It's the brokerage that's actually going to teach you how to go out and do business and how to
fill out the contract
and teach you
how to negotiate and the steps that you need to have to be a realtor.
Actually, how to do business. And then they're going to teach you that, oh, okay, so you have your license, but what does that mean? Mm-hmm. Okay, so then you have to join the board of realtors, which is separate than a brokerage, a business. The board of realtors is the governance of the industry. It's not the business, which is a brokerage. It's the governance of the industry. So you have your local association, which is basically the MLS, the Multiple Listing Service. It's the database of listings that
It's our digital version of the book.
It's the digital version of printed listings. That's where when you go online and you see Realtor.com, Zillow.com, Homes.com, you see all of those websites where they're getting their data.
MLS.
The MLS. That's the local association you have to join in order to actually do business. Mm-hmm. Then there's the State Association of Realtors. And for New York, it's called New York State Association. And then there's the National Association, which is what you were just talking about. Yep. You have to join all of those associations.
And pay for them.
To join those, that's dues. You pay your dues to belong to the club.
Yep.
And each of those associations has a governance structure. So the local association has a board, a governance board with local directors, state directors, secretary, treasurer, president, vice president. Mm-hmm. I had the privilege of being on the board of directors for the local association for 10 years. As a local director, secretary, treasurer, vice president, president, past president. So there's quite a bit of governance behind this industry.
And those are all volunteer slots.
Yes, those are all volunteer positions. Mm-hmm. So I'm deep dive behind in the industry. So not just on the forefront where you're actually practicing and doing the business, but there is a behind the scenes in the industry. I think a lot of people don't know about. There is a behind the scenes governance that's running the industry that makes rules and regs and a professional standard speaking to your NAR. We're held to a higher standard, the ethics, the professionalism, the pathways to professionalism, the code of ethics, all of that. So that was the long story long. There are certain states where you don't have to be a realtor in order to belong to a local association. You can just be a salesperson. When you're a salesperson, you are not voluntarily paying those extra dues and subscribing to the code of ethics. When you're a realtor, you subscribe to the code of ethics, and you can then have an ethics complaint brought against you. Mm-hmm. So if you don't subscribe, then there's no way for a member of the public or another realtor to bring an ethics violation or something against you. Without subscribing and paying dues, you can still follow your own code of ethics. It's just you can't use the trademark or the registered trademark realtor as a title. That's it. But there's a lot of nitty-gritty to it. I mean, all of that I just said, that's like barely touching the surface. There are classes upon classes, and you have to take continuing education, and there's a certain amount of continuing education you have to take in certain classes like ethics and fair housing. And
I think out of the 22 and a half hours for every 2 years, I think only 11 now is elective. Everything else is mandatory.
So that was just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
There's so much more.
And then if you want to move up to associate broker, it used to be 45 and now it's 75 hours. And that's just basically steps up, and there's designation courses that you can do. There's a lot of additional training and classes and advancement, I guess you could say, for agents, for realtors, especially in our area, to kind of go up the ladder and better themselves and their business. And
yeah,
but it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of determination and juggling everything. Because do I sit here and do I do my CE, or do I sit here and type up this offer and do marketing for this house and do this and this and this, and then jump back to CE? Yep. I'm a procrastinator.
Yeah, you have to do 22 and a half credit hours every 2 years and renew your license every 2 years. So it's not like one and done. It's not like, okay, I got my license, I'm done, I'm good for the however long I want to do real estate. No, you have to do it every 2 years. Renew your license every 2 years. It costs money every 2 years just for that specific thing. So it's like,
it's keeping everybody current too, because real estate is changing constantly, just like the rest of the world. I mean, we no longer have the printed books. We are now on the MLS, and we now have all of these .coms, and now we have advertising and strict guidelines on that. And it's a spinning wheel that never stops of evolvement in the real estate world. And that's why we're here.
And legislation. Don't forget that arm of legislation. There are bad apples in every industry, right? Versus the rest of us. And unfortunately, there are those few that it's always the bad stuff that makes the headlines anyway. Right. And then we have to dispel. Then we have to do this. Then we have to get on a podcast and we have to tell you, look, we're not like the rest of them.
Nope.
I don't know if you guys heard this. This was years and years ago. Made the headlines about this realtor that met her lover in a vacant house she had listed and got caught. She was married, met her lover there. She would have sex with this guy in the vacant house she had listed. She got caught. Look it up. Like, we could look it up right now. Like, that's what I'm talking about. These are the bad apples that get the headlines. Realtor gets caught in vacant listing with her lover.
I did not hear that one.
So, So this was probably 5 or 6 years ago. Notice I didn't say 6 or 7. And so these are the headlines that make it. Obviously, they're salacious. So these are the headlines that make it. And then people are like, see, realtors are just dirty. And we're like, that's not all of us, okay? It's bad press. All publicity is good publicity? No. Nope.
Not
really. Not really.
So what makes a good agent? As someone listening, if someone is, looking to hire a buyer's agent or a listing agent, what are some red flags that you have come across as an agent yourself or a broker that clients might want to steer away from? or be on the lookout for when they're getting ready to hire someone?
Great question, because I actually just dealt with a buyer who came to me and said, my agent isn't really helping me and I don't want to work with them anymore. So right there, that's a red flag. And from what they told me, their agent wasn't really listening to them. They weren't really listening to what they wanted or needed. So I don't know if it was a lack of communication, or there wasn't the right kind of communication, or if it wasn't just getting through, or if this agent just didn't really want to help this person. I mean, I'm only hearing one side.
Right.
So that we know that there's two sides to every story. So that would be a red flag, is if the agent isn't communicating the way that you need to be communicated with. You need to find somebody that knows your style, understands what you're looking for, and can put their own bias away. A lot of agents, unfortunately, can't get past their own ego. She says with a question. I mean, I don't know how to put it in another way. Sometimes they can't get past their own, what they think might be best, rather than just listening. Actually, I just posted something on this.
The icebergs.
Yeah, the icebergs. A lot of people, and I'm not just talking agents, in general, people listen with the intent to answer and not actually listen. So actual active listening is a very hard skill to learn. So you want to find an agent and any professional that can actually listen to hear you and not just to reply. A lot of people just like to hear themselves talk, as we do a podcast. She says, as we do a podcast.
So one thing that I found is, as a red flag that I've come across multiple times, is someone being too pushy.
Yeah.
Like, of course, I want my clients to close on a property that they love, because that's how I get paid. I don't get paid unless they close. However, this is not a one and done process. I have had it where it's the first house and here we go, off to closing, and it one and done. But I'm not going to sit here and push you to buy the wrong house. I'm not going to sit here and push you to accept the offer that's not best for your situation. And I've come across other people, buyers and sellers, that, well, I was working with this agent and they were really pushy. They pushed me to buy this house. And don't get me wrong, I will sit down and I will have the pros and cons of every property that we see, whether it's the first 5 properties, or there's clients that I've been working with for the past 3 to 5 years and we still haven't, maybe we've submitted offers, but we haven't found the right one. If you are being pushed into a property or pushed into accepting an offer that isn't what you need as a buyer, as a seller, that's a red flag.
Yes. You do not want to feel pushed.
Especially buying, because there's buyer's remorse. And then if you buy the wrong house, then you're mad at me.
And sometimes buyers feel like they have to, or they feel rushed. So if you have an agent that's making you feel, now some of this is personality too. Maybe you have the personality where you're like, oh, I feel bad because I'm not buying anything from them. Well, listen, then your agent needs to recognize that and say, look, it's okay if you don't buy this. I was just working with this buyer and we made it through the process. We put an offer in, we had a home inspection. There were some things that came back from the home inspection. We negotiated them. They're first-time home buyers and they were really nervous. And I said, it's okay. This is the process. We will get quotes. We will get estimates on some of these things. We will find out what is serious. We will find out what you can handle. We will take our time. We will get extensions on deadlines of things. So we will do everything. And I wanted to make sure that they were comfortable because I could tell that they were really nervous being first-time home buyers. And we get to the financing and lo and behold, the appraisal comes in low. Not super low, but it comes in low. And I could already tell that these buyers are nervous. I could just read it. I was proactive and I sent them an email and I said, look, after we said maybe we can get a reevaluation of value, which means we reach out to the appraiser and we say, hey, wait, maybe we need to take a look at this again to look at different comparables to get the value up. After we did all that, I reached out to them and said, hey, this is what the financing contingency is for. If you're not comfortable, if we figured out this isn't the right house, we can get out of the deal because of the financing contingency. This is what it's for. Don't feel bad. Basically, I'm saying it's okay to do this.
Right.
I was giving them the okay.
Right.
And I think that's what they needed to hear. And that's what they did. So that's what a good agent will do. They won't force you then to be like, hey, we're this far along. You need to keep going.
Right.
Because I could tell that they were nervous. So I said, it's okay to go. It's okay to back out. And they were like, okay, that's good. And then the other story I love to tell, this is like from 7 years ago now, I think, as I was going on a buyer tour with these buyers and a family of 5, we were looking at one of these big old Italianate houses in Dryden, gorgeous. And I love this family. I still see them to this day. And we were looking at this house within their budget. We start going through this house with the family, walking through, and the house needs a little work. It needs some love. The house just needs some love. And they're going through it and they're like, yeah, they're pointing and looking up at we could do this. We could do that. I mean, it was a big enough house to fit all of them. We could do this, we could do that. And as we walk through the house and come back out the back door, and I'm quiet and I'm just kind of lagging behind looking at them. And they're like, well, we could fix this up. And they're
trying to convince themselves.
They're trying to convince themselves. And I look at them and I go, guys, you're not going to buy this house. I go, I'm not going to let you buy this house. And they're like, really? And I go, yeah, no, come on, we're done. And they're like, yeah, we wouldn't have time. Thank you so much. I literally tell buyers, you shouldn't buy this house. You can't buy this house. I'm like, I even did a Tahoe talk. I go, I will tell you not to buy this house. I go, I know I'm a realtor and I'm supposed to sell you houses. No, I'm going to tell you not to buy this house.
I was just on a showing tour with another client a couple weeks ago, and we were kind of all over the place location-wise. We were looking within an hour and 15-minute radius of Ithaca in every direction. And we found one house, and he didn't want to leave. He's like, all right, I'm staying. This is the house. See ya. I was like, yeah? He's like, I love this house. I love everything about it. But I think we still need to see the other 2 tomorrow just to be sure. I said, okay, absolutely. So we get to the other 2, and the first one is just way too much work. We get to the third one, and he's like, yeah, I could do this work. I don't know when, but I could do it. I like the location, but I still keep going back to that first house from yesterday. I was like, I had to drag you out of there. Literally, like I couldn't leave you there. You wanted me to leave you there, and he's like, well, I sent you a couple others. I was like, okay, let's go through them. And we went through, he had sent me 5, and we kind of looked at them and we talked through like the pros and cons of all of them. And he's like, and this is why I hired you. Like, yes, there's a pro to this one, but here's the con. Here's the pro to this one. Here's the con. But I keep going back to that first one. And I think I need to buy that first one from yesterday. I was like, that is the one that you keep referring back to. Like, you love that house. If you want to go see these 4 houses, I mean, they're right down the road. I can schedule them. He's like, no, this is the one. I was like, okay. Like, it's, as the agent, when that client has found the right one. When the family members are, this is my room. This is how I'm going to decorate it. This is what I'm going to do. Or when you're a listing agent and you go and you meet with sellers and you just mesh perfectly, when it's that right fit. I was just on another listing appointment, and before we even met, we had a 45-minute phone call. I'd never met these people before, and the seller called me up and was like, hey, I'm interested in interviewing a couple agents. And before we even met in person, it was a 45-minute phone call, yes, about the process, but then life. And we just had so many similarities. And then I go over to the house 2 days later, and I meet with the wife, and it literally just everything falls into place. And they're like, well, we'll talk about it and we'll be back in touch. And I get a text message, please, 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 will you be our agent? I was like, yes.
That's awesome.
You just, when you're meeting, when you're showing houses, when you're talking on the phone, you just know when it clicks, you don't feel pushed, you don't feel rushed, and you feel guided in the right direction. You feel guided, like you know what you're talking about, what you're being presented. You are understanding, because a contract is going to be 4+ pages long, especially if you have multiples. If you go out knowing and feeling like you understand everything you just went over, that you are heard, and your desires as a buyer or a seller, your goals, your needs are being met, that's when you know that you've got the right crisp, sweet apple, not the bad rotten one.
It's kind of like dating.
Yeah.
We even have our own websites.
I know.
We just don't swipe right or left.
No.
You can even find us online. That's so true, though, because you're going to be spending at least 3 or 4 months with your agent.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we say interview 3 or 4.
Yep.
And you have to, when you're talking about what do you look for in an agent, like what is the good versus the bad, proverbial bad. And I think you said this before, there isn't good or bad, it's thorough, right?
Yes.
Thorough or not thorough, or the right type of personality, or if they communicate the way that you need to be communicated with. That's all it is. So it's
right. The other thing that I found is that is a really good quality and key is punctual. Don't get me wrong. I am late to everything, especially when my kids are involved. But punctuality when it comes to meeting those deadlines.
Yeah. Because
our contract has so many contingencies that you have dates that you have to hit. You have the attorney review. You have the inspection and home radon. You have the financing. You have all of these things that you have to meet. And if you have an agent in La La Land that has no idea when you went under contract and, oh my gosh, you are 2 days out and you need your commitment letter, but you don't have any, you have to have someone who is your time frame, your calendar, your contact, your resource, your person to help mesh everything to meet those deadlines. It's a spiral effect where if one thing doesn't happen, nothing happens. So when it's you have to sell this house to buy this house, you have to have commitment letter for this one, have commitment letter for this one if you're financing both. It's just so many things have to line up perfectly. And when you find another agent who is like, yeah, I'm on this. Yeah, let me push them. Let me get this to where we need to be so your clients can do this and this because my clients is doing that. That's huge.
But it's so easy, Chelsey. Anybody can do it.
Uh-huh.
And you can do it on your own too. People have always had the choice to do it on their own, meaning sell or buy on their own.
Yeah, you can also do surgery on your own.
Well,
but no one does it.
Just like we said, you could buy and sell your car on your own, but I'm not going to do it because it's not the highest and best use of my time. And guess what? I don't know everything about buying and selling a car.
Right.
I'd rather not use my time to do that anyway. So
I'm not going to do any medical procedures on anybody because I don't know.
Also,
I have done the training. I have done the classes. I have the experience. You want a professional that knows what they're doing when you are making a huge life change, buying or selling. You want someone that you know has your back, knows their shit, and can get the job done.
Also, I can go to the gym by myself and do my own routine, but guess what I do? I go to Orange Theory and I have a coach tell me what to do because that's who I am.
Right. You have someone keeping you on track.
Yes.
Just like we are keeping our clients on track. We are keeping the bank, the attorneys, everybody on track.
I'm going to have a professional because I choose to. Now, people are very well and good to do it on their own. You can do a for sale by owner. People have always had the choice to do for sale by owner. But some people think that some people think that they've never had a choice.
And I have had people very close, like friend group, that have done a for sale by owner, and it's worked out, and they've gotten great deals, and the house, it's worked. And I have also had a person who did a for sale by owner and it did not work out. And quick little story. So I did a listing appointment, and I met with this client, and she was going to sell her house and buy another house. And it was going to be contingent. We went through the market value. We went through what she would need to do to the house to get it ready for the market, for photos, went through all of the paperwork, the disclosures. And basically the key point was, you need to make your home and selling your home contingent upon you finding other housing. She's like, okay, no problem. So she's getting ready. She's doing some more like small projects. We start looking at other houses, and I'm showing her houses as now a buyer. And I get a text message. First she sends me a text message and was like, we're not going on market. I was like, oh, okay. She's like, my friend is going to buy my house. I was like, great. Do you want help with the paperwork process? And she's like, nope, I'm just going to have an attorney type it up. I was like, okay. Do you want me to help guide you through the timeline? She's like, no, I got it. I said, okay, please just make sure that sale is contingent upon this purchase. She's like, got it. So we go and we see this house now as a buyer. She loves it. She puts in an offer. We do a home inspection, and then she voids the deal. So now her house is under contract and she doesn't have another house. And I remind her, hey, please just remember, well, she never, ever, ever relayed that onto her attorney. And she ended up selling her house, and she had no place to go. And she had to up and leave the state. It just was never relayed, and no one was there to advocate for her and her needs and what she needed overall out of the sale of this house. And
that's what
it cost her.
The magic word, advocate. I think some people think that we're just like, oh, I'm going to assume, maybe she's thinking she just wants the sale. She's just pushing me to sell and buy. Instead, you were trying to advocate her to not be homeless.
Right.
So it's a perception thing, and it's like, no,
right.
We're not just trying to steal your money. We're not just stealing your money. I mean, yeah, we want to get paid. We've done work. Yeah, right. We want to get paid. But like, we're here to advocate for you. I'm here to help you. I don't want you to be homeless. This is not about me just getting paid. I wouldn't be in business. I wouldn't have perpetual business if all I was here to do is to get paid, because it would literally show that I didn't care about you. I would never have repeat business if that was the case, because this is a business and you have to treat it as such.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions that agents have is we just make all this money. We just do it because we get paid. We get paid a lot of money, and that's why we do this job. And granted, everybody likes payday. However, there was one year and it was early on, and it was a seller's market, and my buyers just could not compete. And there was one year that 9 deals of mine were voided. We went under contract, and something happened where either the home inspection or the house didn't appraise or something, and 9 deals were voided. And that's 9 deals that I worked with 9 different clients or 9 different contracts that I didn't get paid for.
So 9 times you did work and 9 times you didn't get paid.
Yeah.
So that's like somebody doing 9 projects at their place of work and then their employer going to them be like, sorry, we're going to cancel this. I'm not going to pay you for all your work. That's what it's like. And it sucks, but that's right. How it goes. And then you just hope that these buyers stick with you, and you're like, okay, well, we'll get them next time.
Right.
And so that's the risk you take. So the higher the risk, you would hope the higher the reward. And that's where the commissions come in, because we're 100% commission. When these home sellers go to sell a home or a piece of land or property, they always have a choice whether to use a professional or not. Just like anybody has a choice whether to use a professional or not to change their oil, to use a financial advisor, or to go online and do it on their own. The point is there's always a cost to using the market. There's always a cost to using any market when you want to hire a professional to do something for you.
That has the knowledge and experience. That's what you're paying for.
There's always a cost to hiring a professional that you want to do something for you. And you always have a choice to hire a professional or not to do something for you. So when I go into your house and you say, yep, I want to hire you to list my house. Great. Here's our contract. Here's my fee. And they go, you know what? Can you do anything for me with that? Can you? And we sit there and we negotiate what my fee is if they want to. It has never, ever been mandatory. There is never a standard. That's the first thing we learn in school. That is the first thing they teach you in real estate school. There's not an industry standard. It's never mandatory. And that's what this lawsuit was trying to go after, saying it was mandatory and it was too high. And it's fascinating. It was actually really fascinating because there was all this misinformation around it. And the real ones who made out on it were the attorneys. And the irony of this, nothing actually changed. What was mandated, it came from this because NAR settled, because obviously if they kept going after this, it was going to cost even more money. Because what happens when you drag stuff out in court, the attorneys make out because it costs even more and more and more money. So they're like, hey, we're going to settle.
They get paid hourly.
Yep.
We don't.
Each board, each state does real estate individually. They each have their own state laws. There is, again, no national real estate. So it's not like there's any wrongdoing. Each licensing is done state by state. So they didn't admit any wrongdoing. The only thing that came out of this is that there's now these new buyer agreements, these mandatory now buyer agreements, which there were always buyer agreements. They just weren't mandatory.
Right.
Which the irony is this whole lawsuit came from antitrust. They were saying there's this antitrust thing. And now that they're making these buyer agreements mandatory, I'm like, that sounds a little antitrust, because you're now reaching your hands into my business practice saying something is mandatory. They vilified the realtors. Now, again, we're vilified even more. So these headlines vilifying the realtors. It's like, I think the public knows very little except for what's in the headlines. And then the salacious headlines make us sound even worse. And we become the scapegoats. And it's like, I really think that what they were trying to do is disrupt the industry. And what they're really continuing to try to do is disrupt the industry. And I think this is me just spitballing, is I think they're trying to turn the American real estate industry into what it is in Europe and make it an exchange, turn it into an exchange like a stock exchange. So that's my prophecy. We'll see.
All right. Well,
we'll see.
You heard it first from Lindsay. We'll see if she's on the right track down there.
No.
On going down the right road.
No. It will be that. I think it'll be impossible. Turning real estate into a publicly traded market is going to be impossible. It's the single biggest way to accumulate wealth. Private property. And I'm a big advocate of private property rights. Again, that's another part of the industry. Private property rights. That is the single biggest way to accumulate wealth and generational wealth is real estate.
At the end of the day, we wake up and we go to bed every single day continuing to do this job.
Yes.
We choose this job over and over and over. And I have my why. What's your why?
Ooh.
Why do you do this?
I think I'm programmed to help people. I love helping people through their emotions, through sometimes their hardest days. I love the feeling of helping people, no matter what.
I've been part of so many huge milestones. And I know we've talked about milestones and achievements, and I've been part of so many. And I have made connections with people years ago that I still keep in touch with today. I have created friendships. I've created lasting relationships where I see people's kids growing up in front of their house. I see kids now graduating and getting ready to go off to college. I see people who bought this house and getting ready to retire and move closer to family, or they're getting married and now they're ready to buy their first house. I've been part of that. And I continue to be part of that. And I now have a very special place in someone's life that no one else has, because I'm helping guide them through the most important parts that they will remember forever. And that's my job. That is our job. We get to do that for people.
Yeah.
Now, to all of our viewers and our listeners, if you could ask us any questions, no judgments, what would they be? Drop your name and questions below to be featured in an upcoming Q&A episode.
Next episode on Under Contract Taking Backup.
People love to self-sabotage. What is this? Self-fulfilling prophecy of like self-sabotage.
Don't leave your paint. Don't leave your building materials. Just don't leave your shit. Don't leave your shit. Please.
And then they give me this number and I'm like, what the buyer used my toilet and didn't flush. And I was like, what am I supposed to do with this?